Apple's growing like a weed. And as you know, we've always been in Cupertino. Started in a little office park and eventually got the buildings we are in now at the corner of Deanza and 280.
Apple Park has been built to reflect Apple's values. It's powered by 100% renewable energy. Thank you.
Before moving into the video, we need to ask some questions are: what makes Apple Park unique and different from other parks? How does the architecture of Apple Park reflect vision and value of the company? And how does the architecture of Apple Park promote collaborative and inspiring work environment? The story dates back to 1993, when the previous campus of Apple was no longer big enough for a growing company. The buildings were arranged along a circular private road, infinite loop, named after a programming term for a code that will run endlessly itself. In order to cope with the growing number of employees, the company started acquiring more and more buildings in the area. Eventually, Apple was operating out of chaotic mix of buildings that were originally developed entirely separately from one another. The plan was not to abandon the existing campus at Infinite Loop, but to expand it with a larger modern one. Apple was able to acquire a large piece of land that is not only located nearby, but also sit directly on Interstate 280, which runs through the entire Silicon Valley, offering good accessibility for employees. In April 2006, Apple CEO Steve Jobs announced to the City Council Cupertino that Apple had acquired 9 contiguous properties to build a second campus, the Apple Park. The idea to design this new headquarters was conceived by Jobs and Apple chief designer Johnny Ive. Jobs hired Norman Foster, renowned architect, to design his dream project, and this was the special partnership of exceptional talent. This Apple Park, which looks like a spaceship, became the new headquarters of Apple company located in California, United States, and it opens to employees in April 2017. Located in the suburban site totaling 1.46 square kilometer, that is 360 acres. It houses more than 12,000 employees in one central 4-story circular building. This ring-shaped circular building is divided into 9 sections, surrounded by vast parkland and each connected by a light-filled atrium. The park invites employees who may work in completely different parts of the building to cross paths and exchange ideas, and it becomes an iconic symbol of the Apple brand. The inner and outer rim on each floor are left open and walkways. The campus is 1 mile in circumference with a diameter of 1,541 feet. It is 4 stories above the ground and 3 stories underground. The design hides the roads and parking spaces underground, and this maximizes the green spaces on the ground. The campus uses only a glass for its wall and views of the inner courtyard as well as on the landscape facing the exterior of the building. The inner part of the circular building contains a 30-acre park. It features a pond with fruit trees and winding pathways inspired by California fruit orchards, and it took 8 long years of planning and proposal and permit. Although the building as a whole offers enormous amount of space due to the ring shape, it is not overwhelmingly large at any individual point. With the individual segments, walkways lead around the building along the outer and inner rims. These walkways are separated from the outside only by a continuous wall made of glass that stretches from floor to ceiling, allowing a panoramic view of the surrounding. In addition, these elements are also a part of bringing fresh air in from the outside. The inside is also an open office design pod, which is inspired by a co-working space which allows people to collaborate with each other. Each pod is divided by a glass facade. Some of the employees complain about the design, and they say open pod design with programmers struggling to concentrate in this new setup, and they were unable to focus on work. Jobs wanted this campus to look like a business park and more like a natural refuge. In the design, 80% of the site consists of a green space planted with drought-resistant trees and plants. The central courtyard of the main building features an artificial pond. And when it comes to the design of the park, it was important to Steve Jobs that the landscape is a reflection of California landscape, and we grew up around. The new campus is not only close to the previous campus, but also not far from where everything started for Jobs, his childhood home where he assembled the first computer together with Steve Wozniak in 1976. For the design of the park, Reclaim the landscape architect Laurie Olin was hired, who relocated to the Palo Alto for 4 months. His park design is a representation of California landscape. On one hand, there is a wide meadow extending from the building that can be used for event and resemble campus parkland at Stanford University. Another place where employees come together is in cafeteria. It is a single lunchroom for the entire building, and this restaurant is called Cafe Max and features 4-story sliding glass door, the largest in the world, open to the courtyard. Adjacent behind there are several rows of an orchard containing over 800 fruit trees, referencing the Bay Area's countless fruit plantation. As then there is the man-made pond again, referencing the water of the surrounding area, which enable all greenery to exist. Located on the left corner, there is an Apple Park Fitness Center. On the outside, there are the facilities for team sports like volleyball, basketball, and soccer. While inside, there is a full fitness studio accessible to the Apple employees only. Located on the other side of the park, there is a building that is regularly open for outsiders during the Apple press event at the Steve Jobs. However, only the entrance pavilion is visible above the ground. The actual auditorium is completely underground, and this theater is used for the presentation of product by companies, can seat up to 1,000 people. The theaters include 1,000 square feet fitness center, 3,000 square feet research and development facilities, a care and visitor centers. It was originally estimated that the campus world cost just $500 million to put together. However, the land alone cost $160 million, and cost quickly started to overrun. By the 2011, the budget in place had multiplied to little under $3 billion. When it all said and done, Apple was looking to build closer to $5 billion. And currently, the worth of Apple company is $2 trillion. All the buildings are incredibly eco-friendly, with the main ring construction being home to one of the largest rooftop solar farms. Solar covered roof generates 17 megawatt of power, which is enough to meet 75% of the campus energy demand during peak time. The main building also utilizes a natural ventilation system, meaning it doesn't use traditional heating and cooling method for a 9th month of the year. There are 800 of the 45-foot tall curved glass panels around the building exterior and around 3,000 smaller panels to be found within. Steve Jobs approached this campus not as an architect or productivity expert, but as a storyteller aware of the power a well-told story has to inspire.